seems like your staff has really taken shape. Can you address some of the ones that we know for sure that you've already hired?
Sure. We're working through, want to be thorough and methodical in that process, so we have added some good ones that I'm real excited about. Going to add a few more here by the week's end, and then hopefully announce a staff in the next 10 days or so. But I could tell you, just sitting in the offensive meetings already with those guys and just hearing them talk and the vision that we've laid out together, it's a very impressive group. Kind of just listening to Andrew speak there about diversity of thought, I think we have that, and really looking forward to finalizing that and putting together a good first staff.
Can you talk about what you like about Alex Van Pelt? I mean, it's been widely reported to be OCs.
Yeah.
What did you like about him, and what did he bring, and will he call plays, or will he?
Yeah, I think he's a really fine man. First of all, he's a family man. He's, I think, of the highest integrity, which matters a lot to me and to this organization. I think his reputation as an offensive mind, played the game, played the position, has coached the position. So I think he just was a really checked all the boxes for me. But again, a good man. Looking forward to talking to him as it pertains to play calling. I know that's a very popular topic. We'll work through it. I don't know. That's the God's truth, God's honest truth, and we'll work through it. And like I said before, and it's still true today, we'll do what's best for the Browns.
Could you give us an idea of how your meeting with Beckham went, and are you really confident that he's committed to this team 12 months of the year?
My meeting went well. Not to get into too many specifics, but we talked about a lot of topics, and then, commitment is shown over time. So I think I have full confidence in Odell. I've spoken to him a couple times, have met with him face to face, and really looking forward to getting to know him more, him getting to know me, and then getting him in this scheme, getting him around the coaches, and then see where we go.
Alex Van Pelt has had a long history with different quarterbacks. Will you also have a quarterback coach along with him as offensive coordinator?
I think we're working through the staff and going to finalize that here in the next couple weeks to 10 days, and just make sure we get the right mix of people. But you mentioned Alex. He has worked with a bunch of different quarterbacks, played quarterback at a high level in this league. So I've been very impressed with Alex.
Now that Andrew's here, what was it about him?
I'm sorry, what?
Andrew, now that he's in the building and here, what was it about him last year that you guys really formed that connection and just, obviously it was strong enough to, you've got him here as your GM?
Yeah, another man of high integrity, great family man, understands the game, broke in as a scout. I like everything about Andrew, aside from the Harvard thing, which he can't do anything about it, but just a really good football man, someone I'm looking forward to working with for many years.
Kevin, when you think of chief of staff, you think of somebody in maybe politics. What will Callie's role be? And what prompted you to bring her in and be a part of it?
Well, again, just working with Callie now for the last couple of weeks or whatever it has been, she's outstanding. I couldn't be more impressed. That role is really where I broke in, and it's the breeding ground for coaches, and that's something that Callie wants to do ultimately is work her way onto the offensive or defensive side. But as is now, she's the chief of staff. What does that mean? It's that role. It's the anything and everything. I can promise you she's made it. It's going to be a big role. She's going to be able to touch each area of this building, keep me on track. But I just think she's somebody that's always trying to learn, so making sure that she's in every meeting with me and just learning. But I could not be more impressed with Callie.
How does she measure up to you in the first couple of weeks?
She's way better. Yeah, not close. Yeah.
Kevin, last time we met like this, we talked about Odell Beckham and now the Kareem Hunt thing. Are those duties as a head coach that you didn't used to have to deal with those? So now as head coach, how much does that just add to your play?
That's the gig, So, listen, we have expectations for our players, and we'll lay them out once we get everybody back in here April 6th. But as it pertains to those conversations, I'll be very direct with our players and what we expect of them off the field.
Kevin, is the constant turnover here unnerving in any way?
No.
Why not?
I'm ready for this challenge, and I think we're adding the right people to this, and that's what I believe in. I believe in adding the right people and then making sure that we have the right processes in place. But our vision is so forward thinking I can't really go back and I can't change my mentality based on what's happened in the past.
Is there something that, when you're talking to Andrew, that really, you mentioned his integrity and, you know, good family guy or whatever, but from the football side, that made you think that this is a good setup of you two guys working together?
Yeah, I think he broke in under some really good football people. I think Bill Polian and he's mentioned, you know, Howie and Ryan Grigson, and I just think I similarly broke in with different head coaches, different coordinators. I think it's so important as young coaches or young scouts that you're exposed to different ways of thinking, different philosophies. So I think that's really formed him into a very complete general manager, and both in terms of evaluation, in terms of leadership style, all of the above.
When you guys talk about smart, tough, accountable, and trying to change the culture to that,
Yeah.
do you guys feel like you have a long way to go? I mean, there's a lot of strong personalities and kind of different guys on this team. Are you far from the culture that you want?
It's hard to say without having all of our players here in the building, but every roster is different year to year, so as we add people to this mix, we'll make sure that they fit the mold of what we're trying to build here, and then I promise you we'll get the right people in here, and that will come over time.
Andrew talked though about taking chances on character guys. Where do you stand on kind of in that regard?
I don't know, what specifically did he say?
Well, you know, John, I don't remember what he said, but like John Dorsey was willing to gamble and get a lot of second chances. Do you believe in second chances for?
I mean, I believe in second chances, sure, but I think we'll be very smart about the people we identify out there that we want to bring into this building. I think Andrew mentioned smart, tough, accountable. There are different case studies, obviously, but we'll be diligent about keeping it to a group we're proud that they're in this building, that they represent the Cleveland Browns.
Kevin, where do things stand with Joe Woods?
Yeah, I think there'll be an appropriate time to talk about it. Obviously, I'll talk about Joe. I think he's an outstanding football mind. You saw that defense, what they were able to do this year. I think adding Joe to the mix, I think, was very impressive. I saw firsthand, unfortunately, how good they were. But just, again, good family man. I've known him for a long time, and at the appropriate time, we'll kind of dive into that.
Is he coming in today?
I think he's coming in today.
Following up on what Marla asked, so when you sit down with Kareem Hunt, do you get it? Are you looking for a sense of, yes, he regrets his actions, and I feel like he can get past that, and it's not a pattern with him?
I think every situation is different, but certainly with any player, we're going to have standards by how we behave when we're not in this building, when we are in this building. So I think Kareem understands that, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to move forward with him understanding where I stand on all those matters.
So do you want and expect Kareem Hunt and Odell to be on the team this year?
I think I certainly want Kareem and Odell on the team this year. Yes, they're players I believe in, and again, two different situations. But to lump them together, I would put them with all of our players. There's a standard that we'll set, and that we're going to ask of them to adhere to those standards.
Hey, Kevin, when we talked about January 14th in your intro, we talked about alignment, and you said, yeah, I call it being on the same page and all that. But it's because Jimmy Haslam laid that out as his mission this offseason, right? So, we bombarded you last time we saw you with George Payton questions, because you guys spent 13 years together, and that kind of makes the light bulb go off and say, well, that would be alignment.
Right.
Was there any disappointment that you guys weren't able to reunite here? And why does Andrew Berry fit that alignment, being on the same page goal in your mind?
Yeah, as it pertains to the first part of the question, we had three great candidates, in my opinion. George is a friend of mine, but I can't say that would have made us more aligned in all football decisions. Again, great friend, but as it pertains to Andrew, he knows how I think, and we've talked about it. It's not just we're just hoping we're on the same page. We've talked about everything under the sun in the last 2 weeks, and our football philosophy, the way we're going to acquire players, just the specifics about how we're going to do all of that. And we've worked through all that, and I can promise you that partnership is very important, and it's something that I look forward to starting. And we've started that process already.
As the head coach, obviously, you naturally have input on the type of players you're looking for, who fits your system, et cetera. But just now that Andrew's in place, how do you see that dynamic playing out as far as, you know, just how significant of a role will you play in the decisions he makes?
Yeah, I mean, Andrew's the general manager, I'm the head coach, but I can promise you, in decisions as it pertains to personnel, I'll be involved. And we have a really good, have had a dialogue already about that. You know, Andrew talks about he gets a lot of free advice from his dad in acquiring players, so do I. Okay, so we got to make sure we listen to the right people, but it's going to be Andrew and I, along with a bunch of really good people in this building, making those decisions.
Do you feel like you've already had some little fires to put out or some things to deal with from a sort of controversial standpoint with Kareem Odell, Myles Garrett being suspended and when he's going to come back? Has there already been an undue amount of that sort of stuff?
I don't think so, Mary Kay. I think this is the NFL. There's always going to be something around the corner. You don't know when you walk in the building what's going to come up. As it pertains to all of our players, though, I can promise you we're going to make sure that we're doing the right things on and off the field.
On Alex Van Pelt, going back to him, is he going to be your quarterback's coach too?
I think we kind of talked about that a little bit. I think we're working through it's a very fluid situation, and I've spoken about this before. Putting a staff together is a puzzle, and you got to find the right pieces, and the big pieces are the coordinators, and even what is seemingly a small piece, like a quality control coach. I want to get the right people in here as we fit this puzzle together.
What is getting Callahan up to you?
Been great. Coach Callahan, I just have a ton of respect for the man. Just spending some time with him in that meeting room and hearing how he coaches certain techniques and some of the schemes that we're going to employ. Very excited for what he brings to the table. I've mentioned it before, his experience as a head coach at the collegiate and professional level is something that I'm going to lean on heavily.
Does he do the blocking scheme, the zone blocking type of stuff that you were looking for?
Yes.
Is it kind of cool to have a young Barry's got his whole family? I mean, you know, you got a bunch of kids.
Well, I'm much older than Andrew. But
No, but what I'm saying is, it's like, going forward, I mean, Jimmy wanted to have like an organization in place for the long term. Is it
Yeah.
kind of cool that you and Andrew kind of have the kids?
I think it's cool
that.
that his kids are here. I'm missing my kids as I'm watching those two guys. So, yeah, I think it's awesome.
You've used the words integrity, family to describe some of your coaches. How important are those non-football traits as you put this staff together?
Extremely. I mean, if you have to start there, I want good people and good coaches, but I'm starting with good people, and I can promise you, as we've gone through this process, it wasn't important to me to hire a staff in a day. We could have done that, but that wouldn't have been the best thing for the Browns. So it's been so important to make sure we're adding the right people with diversity of thought, diversity of race, gender, all of the above, age, you name it, but making sure it's the right mix of people first and foremost.
Can you address the perception that maybe you really preferred George Payton and that, Andrew was somehow second choice?
Yeah, I mean, listen, 3 great candidates, and I know a lot was made of George and my relationship. He's a great friend of mine, will continue to be a great friend of mine, but I will promise you what was important was getting the right man for this job and for the Cleveland Browns, and I think Andrew, again, could not be more excited to work on a day-to-day basis with him.